Let's pretend for a second that you're a goldfish, right? Your task is to swim around, breathe in and out, of course, through your gills, and maybe find some food, I don't know, swim through a castle, those sort of things, right? You're in a tank, so there's not a whole lot that you have to worry about danger-wise and such. You see, when I was in graduate school, I spent my Friday and Saturday nights not at the bar, not with friends and colleagues. I spent them working with goldfish in the research lab, which was actually attached as a mother-in-law suite to where I lived. So I only had to go about 15 feet and I was hanging out with the research participants. Let me tell you about my best friends. See, a lot of people take issue with the idea of comparing themselves to animals, much less goldfish, but they can help us understand a lot when it comes to basic principles that influence behavior, human or otherwise. Now, I get it with this issue of dignity and respect and such. If you're interested in learning more about those specific lessons, let me know in the comments below. But if you believe in the stats, this video should have lost your attention by now. It should have been about 6 to 9 seconds. That is, if you Google and look around at the comparisons between goldfish's attention span and now consumer behavior's attention spans getting shorter and shorter and shorter, so they say. You see, a lot of times I get asked what sort of content should be made, and particularly sometimes critiques of mine for being long-form content. But no one watches this long-form content. Rhino, it needs to be short. Should be short, should be long. How long is the right amount of length for short or long-form content? You see, the psychology says it's task dependent, and there's a few different things that go into this when we're talking about behavior analysis, but there's a reason why some things can happen. Like the world record in 1989 for the longest competitive chess game was 20 hours and 15 minutes. Paying attention to a chessboard for 289 moves for 20 hours and 15 minutes. Ridiculous, right? So on top of this task-dependent nature, there's other things that go into it as well. Let's talk about your preferences. What sort of content do you like to watch? It's probably not the same for everybody. In fact, we know that these things are individualized because of behavior analysis and what we've studied, or rather what we've discovered. But it might not be the content, it might be the platform that you're delivering on, or the time of day that it happens to be popping up, and the other competing contingencies and things that are in effect and trying to bid for our time, essentially. And I challenge you, if you don't think that long-form content is effective, what about the $40 billion film industry globally? Almost entirely long form. You see, it has to be the right content, unique content where they can only find it ideally through your channels, and engaging content as well. I spent this weekend looking at the data of this channel, and quite frankly, your attention spans, I can't keep them past. That is, it's almost impossible. We'll see what the data says on this one. As I'm entering in closer to the final of this year and the beginning of 2019, I will be doing an overhaul of the channel. Expect me to continue to kind of tinker and figure out what is working best on this channel before that big overhaul. So if you stuck around this long, please give me a like, a share, something like that if you found it at all engaging. Link any resources or anything that you have that may be contradictory to this, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, if you were wondering, the goldfish stuff that we actually did do, in a separate study, unpublished, that we were doing, we were able to get goldfish to remember for up to 4.5 months. That is, we could get them to come back and do the thing that they hadn't practiced for up to 4.5 months, and they could do it without hesitation and just immediately. Not quite attention spans, but nonetheless a fun fact for you. All right, that's your Daily BA.